Hi, can I have 2 shots of espresso?
Hello, welcome. I'm Brian Greenwald, and welcome to In a Cafe. Today, we are going to talk about the artistic integrity and value that we see in today's art being lowered in quality because of the current state of our economy. Deep stuff, but let's get into it. So, I feel like today I really wanted to touch on the idea that in the economy today, with cost of living being at an all-time high and the paychecks we're receiving to be even lower than ever, we start to see the value within artistic integrity to be extremely lowered. And here's why. Since the paychecks we're receiving are lowered, we have less availability as artists to create what we really want to 100% of the time. We might not have the means to, we might not have the tools, and that's because our clients aren't giving us enough to use to produce. When do we draw the line between let me create something 100% my vision versus let me create something that represents the paycheck I'm receiving? This is a struggle that I've been dealing with, but also I feel like just as a whole, we can see that being represented in like all art forms right now. And I don't know, I just feel like visually we see it, sonically we see it in films, music, and like design. And it's hard to witness because it's like I want to do something about it, but then as artists, we stand up and say, well, we can't create what your vision is because you're not giving us this. And then it's hard. It's a hard thing to deal with because then the clients turn and say, well, okay, well then we're not going to pay you at all. We're just going to use AI to create what we want, and then we're out of a job. So it's interesting to see this kind of decline in value when it comes to art right now. And we've probably seen this in the past with like other decades and generations going through a very similar time as us. And I find it really interesting to like watch high budget movies right now getting made, and it's like I'm watching it and I'm going like I could do that better. Like why did they edit it that way? Why couldn't they go back and redo this scene that they probably should have redone? And it's like they just didn't have the money for it. And that's where the economy really comes into play in this artistic world. And I feel like art and money and art and like reality shouldn't really ever mix because art is not created solely off of the back of rich men. It's created from people and individuals who have a creative mind that is off of this plane of existence, and it should never be related to the bank, or it should never be related to like these higher bosses who are only thinking financially. And I think right now more than ever it feels like those two worlds are colliding. And I also think that probably has a lot to do with this like era of AI or artificial intelligence being like kind of the art world's enemy right now in a lot of ways. Because it feels like our enemy for like so long was these like financial men in power. They're at the end of the day, they're the ones creating the paychecks and allowing us to receive financial benefits from what we're creating. But it's interesting how them being an enemy has now turned into the usage of computer systems as truly our main enemy, because it feels like that's kind of overpowering everything we're creating and almost like erasing artists from existence. Like I feel like artists are now going extinct due to not only AI, but the people who use AI. And, it really is a result of our economy right now. Like, if we had the paychecks that we should rightfully receive, you would see not a decline in art anymore. And you would not see AI rising up and, perpetrating all of our social media feeds and the content we're receiving and the media that's being created through even like professional uses like film and music. And you wouldn't see that if we were benefiting financially from what we're creating. Because then, if our paychecks were being corrected and like if we were being paid correctly, it's like we could create endless amounts of things for everybody, and like gratefully so. And we just don't see that happen today because we don't have the means to do it anymore. Overall, as artists, many of us feel forced to produce less than quality work just to keep up with the demands of social media and the ever-changing algorithms. It's like we're sacrificing our artistic integrity for the sake of visibility. But should we compromise an artistic intention and value for a paycheck? Short answer, yes, because money is money. But as a result of this, in the decade of the 2020s, will we look back and cringe at all of the work we're creating due to the lack of value we are allowing ourselves to provide? These are the challenges we're facing in today's economy. The rising cost of living, in turn, creates a lower paying client, and the sacrifice of creative integrity rises in the search of financial stability. It's impossible to be an artist today with the one job being your art. But was it ever? We have to take on multiple jobs, hence how I'm currently a barista part-time, freelancer part-time, wanderer. But I still feel an immense lack of financial stability. Burnout progresses as the need to constantly produce work and holding on a financial burden on my shoulders becomes heavier and heavier. Acknowledging these challenges can help us work towards creating a more sustainable lifestyle while creating an equitable art ecosystem that values creativity with fair compensation. 25. So, how do we, I'm tangled up in my wires, how do we, in 2025, create valuable art while still being amidst this economic struggle? And I feel like the answer isn't going to be for everybody. Like, as individuals, we're all kind of struggling in our own ways. But I think to find the value in your own work is so important. And I think the only way to really find that is to spend more time to yourself and your art and have more hobbies. Try to find that time to like create hobbies for yourself and, make that time yours and yours only. Not having everything be at the hands of your job or anything really. And I think that goes along with everybody who is not an artist as well, who's maybe listening to this, relating to it in some sort of way. Finding your own hobbies, your own happiness in your own present world away from the economic bosses that we call our current jobs. It can really allow creativity to perspire and understand who you are as an artist more and more. Because eventually we'll be out of this in some sort of way and life will look better economically, I guess. But eventually we'll be at a place where we can find some sort of peace, and to know that we never sacrificed our own artistic integrity for the sake of a paycheck is important as well. I think to set kind of aside these moments of this is for my job and I might lose myself a little bit in it, but to know that when I'm back home, working on my own creative endeavors, that creativity can still perspire and be the brightest version of you possible. To know that you're not sacrificing yourself in the midst of all of this is greatly important and can only carry over to your future, where you can actually put in that work that you intend to create and the outcome will show for it. Thank you so much for listening to this episode. I'll see you in the next one. Wait, I'll see you in the next one. Cheers. Was that loud? Wait, let me try this. I don't know if you heard that. Comment below if you did. But cheers. Bye. See you in the next one. See ya. Bye. 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 Bye.